um, collaboration with the content might become public later because we upload our recording to YouTube. Okay, so welcome everyone to another Excel Toronto Meetup group. Happy New Year again, 2025. Wow, it's yes, it's 2025. It's kind of a big number. Um, and welcome to our new series. So some of you may have seen an email that I sent out around the Christmas season, I believe, where I was explaining that we decided to start a new series in our sessions. So usually we were running one session per month, and on a trial basis for this quarter, we will do two sessions each month, and we are separating these sessions in two separate series that we call Excel Essentials, like the one we have today, where the focus is to teach some of the core functionality of Excel, things that are useful for every type of user, even people just using Excel for data entry or very more simple tasks that they can use these tips and this knowledge to be better and more productive in Excel. And then we will keep the previous format and we call them the Excel expanded series, where we will continue to bring the experts from around the world that teach us more advanced stuff, sometimes things that are not even Excel only, maybe other Windows applications or Microsoft applications that relate or integrate with Excel in some way, because our audience it contains all types of users, people that are just starting their learning journey with Excel and people who want to learn more and more and more and are more advanced and try new things. So we are trying to accommodate and address all these types of needs. Let's see how this works for the first semester. Feel free to, or for the first quarter, I mean, feel free to send us your feedback. Even just shoot me an email or send me a message through Meetup or to Grania, whoever you feel more comfortable with, and let us know what you think, because it's really about serving the Excel community and making something that is meaningful and valuable for everyone or for as many people as possible. Okay, so today we have Lee Becker. Lee is presenting from the UK, so thank you, Lee, for being up so late. It's 5 hours more there than it is in Toronto, so it's getting late there. Thank you so much. I will do a quick introduction to you about you in a little bit. Just want to go over the usual announcements or things that I want to share here. So again, our session is being recorded and we will share this on our YouTube channel. The link is on the Meetup page. For the new members especially, we will upload this, not specially for you, but just so that you know, we will upload this in a couple of days to our YouTube channel, and then you will receive an email as long as you are not opted out from the organizers' emails. You will receive an email with information. Here's the recording, here are the files, or any other information that the presenter may want to share with you. And we always also add extra information about Excel resources, maybe information about events. Sometimes we get discounts that we can offer our members. So all that also goes on the email or the files that we will give you access to. So that's one of the reasons why it's good to register as a member, because then you can have access to all this information later, even if you can't attend in person. My name is Celia Alves. I am an Excel MVP. I live in the Toronto area. I've been working with Excel for a couple of years, was developing custom solutions as an independent consultant for a while, for a couple of years, developed my own training program to teach people all this nice stuff that I've learned over the years. And recently, I joined a company called Sheetcast, and they happen to be our sponsors. So because of my conversation with them to become our sponsors, I ended up becoming part of their team, which was an interesting process. And sorry for that. And we have Grania as part of the organization team as well. She's been with us since day one, back in 2019 when we started this group. And Grania is not working full time anymore. She has the privilege of choosing the type of work she wants to do. And because she likes Excel so much, she's involved with different people working with Excel and helping them with different projects. Do you want to say anything else, Grania?
Yes, I really enjoy working with Excel and helping people who are, on their journey in different places. And most of the people that I've been doing work for recently happen to be MVPs. Support in the background for the stuff that they post different places. But I do a small amount of individual training as well. Um, but I'm fussy. but I do love working with Celia. She's been an absolute joy
Thank you.
on these meetups and done such a wonderful job growing it from our original, when we were meeting live, we were getting like, I think the most we got was about 25 people, but usually it was in the sort of 10 to 15 range. And now we have 4,600 plus members. So
Yeah,
you've done
it's
a
been
marvelous job, Celia.
no, both of us, and not just us. The credit goes out to all the presenters who have been offering their time and their knowledge. All the work that you see being done here is for free. Us, the organizers, do this as a volunteer work for the community. The presenters also offer their knowledge and their time for free. They are not paid for these sessions. So enjoy it, take advantage of this opportunity to learn from all these brilliant people around the world. And yeah, just enjoy. I learned.
I think Celia has frozen. So, well, we'll just continue on. One of the next things on our list was to tell you about women in Excel. Oh, wait a minute, you're back. You froze there for a moment, Celia. Celia? Yeah, you're mute now. Celia, you're on mute. Yes, there you
I
are.
don't know. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, just enjoy. All this is made with love for everyone. Just enjoy and take advantage of what you can learn from us. Um, thank you, Grania. So next sessions, as I was explaining before, we now have for this quarter at least 2 sessions per month. In January, still end of the month, we will have Michael Jarman, our Excel champion of 2024. He happens to live in Toronto. He will be presenting about the lambda function. And then in February, we will have Mike Thomas from the UK teaching us about the filter function, which is, if you don't know the filter function, you are just starting your Excel journey. I encourage you to really come and learn, because it will make a big difference for the work that you do with Excel. And then we will have Steve Krynak from the US teaching us about how to customize different things in Excel that can save us time when we are creating new workbooks and formatting things the same way all the time, so we can customize and have things ready for us quicker. A great topic as well. Why is my, okay, let's see, can I move my presentation? There. Our sponsor, as I mentioned before, Sheetcast. Sheetcast is an Excel add-in that can be used to create web applications using Excel as a programming language. It's quite an interesting technology. Maybe at some point we will have them coming to, maybe I will do that, a presentation about how Sheetcast works and how we can take advantage of it. The Excel Global Summit is the next big Excel event. It's almost there. It happens in 4 to 6 of February. February 6th is a free day and it's online only. The other 2 days are paid, and there's an option of attending in person in London, UK, or online. They usually offer a very good platform to allow networking, even if you are attending online. And it's been a great event. I've been presenting there all the editions, and this year is going to be the fifth edition. So I truly recommend that event if you want to be on top of what's happening in Excel, in the Excel industry. Excuse me, Sheetcast could get us a 20% off discount if you use the code Sheetcast, and if you are still making up your mind whether or not you should buy your ticket, feel free to use that code and get 20% off on any ticket. Women in Excel, it's a group on LinkedIn that Grania created exactly about a year ago. It started on a conversation between multiple people at the Global Excel Summit. And it's an interesting space to belong to if you are a woman, because it's a safe place to just share, to get to know each other, to get different discussions about Excel. I truly encourage you to get there. Grania will probably put the link in the chat, and then we will also send you this information on the email that goes to you after when we publish the video online.
There's more resources. Add one thing there, Celia?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, back to the Women in Excel. If you happen to be at the Global Excel Summit, watch out in the networking area, because a lot of us that are members at Women in Excel will be hanging around in the networking area. So pop in between sessions and have a visit with anybody that's in those networking rooms at the Global Excel Summit. You meet some really interesting people and quite enjoyable conversations.
Yes. So yeah. Thank you. What else? There's more resources. There's a newsletter. There's YouTube channel. There's blogs, books. You can get all these on your files when I send the email out. And just let's go and start with brought us all here. We want to learn from Lee Becker what she has to teach us about what in Excel can make us more productive even before we start worrying about learning formulas and do crazy stuff. So I'm excited about this. Lee, thank you so much again for joining us. I'm going to just read your bio that we have in our page just to introduce you, and then feel free to fill in any blanks. Lee Becker loves working with data, using Excel and solving a puzzle. She hates waste and loves efficiency. A lot of what she has learned has stemmed from helping friends and colleagues with their Excel problems and coming up with practical, user-friendly solutions. Lee has a background in computer science and business administration and has worked in data analysis roles for over a decade now. And feel free to connect with Lee on LinkedIn. Lee, what else would you like to add? And just take the stage. Feel free to share your screen if you want to at any time. And yeah, just teach us some Excel good stuff.
Thanks, Celia and Grania. Thank you. Hi, yeah, my name's Lee. I started working with spreadsheets nearly 20 years ago, but it's probably a similar story to a lot of people. It was nothing to do with my job. I think someone just asked me a question at some point, and I managed to answer the question, and so more people just came to me. I ended up kind of Googling for most of the answers as well, which is pretty much how I learned most of what I know. So I spend a lot of my free time working on things related to reducing waste. So for example, like our local repair cafe, and I enjoy fixing and upcycling random things. So I do have an Instagram, which is nothing to do with Excel, called upcycle_experiments. So in most recent years, I've worked for a few organizations And I've basically realized how many people use Excel as part of their work, whether they like it or not. I think the majority of people just use it to get a particular job done and don't really spend a lot of time to investigate different functionalities. I've also, so me personally, I've had quite a few jobs where I've been working manually in Excel, and I do like to automate as much as I can, but it's not always possible or the best idea to automate everything. So what I'm about to show you are some just really simple tricks that I've picked up that I found really helpful for my work, and I hope that they are useful to you as well. So I'm just gonna start sharing and just go through some of the tricks. So actually the first thing, oh yeah, is that sharing okay? So this data that I've got here, I've got from a website called Mockaroo, which is, oh, is that, which is a website that you can get some fake data from, which is really useful sometimes when you're working with things and you can't share the sensitive data. So the first thing that I was going to show you is, so if you want to get some so for example, a few different numbers, so they could be sort of randomly, then so what I'm doing now is I'm holding down the control button on my keyboard, and then I'm just going to select the numbers. So down here in this toolbar, we've got a few different pieces of information. It's a bit small, but so we can see the sum here without having to write a formula. And the other thing that I think is a fairly new feature is that if you actually click on the these values here, it copies that value to your clipboard. So previously, if you clicked off the cell, then those values would disappear, but now you can paste on there. So I'm just pressing Control and V, and it will go onto there, and it's actually onto your computer's clipboard as well. So you can also just paste it into Notepad or other applications as well. Okay, so the other thing, next thing I'm going to show you is about moving columns around, so reordering columns. So for example, if I have a look at this data, so I've downloaded it from somewhere, and the date is not where I want it. So if I want the date to be in between these two columns, what I used to do was I would right click on this column and then press Insert, copy this, and then paste it into here, and then I'd have to then delete this column here. But there is a better way, so I'm just going to undo that. So what you can do, so if you highlight the column, and it works the same way for rows as well, if you press the Shift key on the keyboard and then move the cursor so that it turns into this four-way arrow. So I'm still got Shift key held down, and now you can just move, and you can see this bar. It's like a thick bar that goes in between the columns, so you can see where your column is going to end up. So that's just a much quicker way to reorder your columns. So freeze panes is something that is very useful as well. So if we've got a lot of data here, if I'm scrolling down, then I might get to about here and I can't remember what this was. Was it was it a first name? Was it a last name? Which order was it? And I'd have to go all the way to the top again to find the column names. And then by that time, I've lost which row I'm up to. But there's something called freeze panes. I think that instinctively, a lot of people, well, what I used to do anyway, was I thought that I would have to highlight this, the row that I wanted to freeze, and then in the freeze panes, which is under the view menu, I would click on freeze panes, and what would happen is it would appear in the middle, which is not what I wanted. But what you do instead, so I mean, now Excel has this option to say freeze top row, but like if you want to freeze any row or column, what you do is you highlight the cell to the one below and one to the right of where you want to freeze. So I'm going to just freeze the top row. So I'm going to highlight cell A2 and then click on freeze panes. And now when I scroll, it will keep that header row visible. So the next thing I'm going to show is different ways to fill down. So I have this. So in the UK, we have something called gift aid, which is when you make a donation to a charity, then the charity can claim the tax back. And there's a formula to calculate that, which is basically 25% of your donation. But so if we've got one formula here that calculates the gift aid, and I want it to be populated for all of the rows, you can drag it down like this. But if you've got a lot of data, you'd be dragging for a really long time, and sometimes it's difficult to control when to stop. So what you can do instead is if you move the cursor to the bottom right hand corner of the cell until it forms this kind of like a cross shape, and then if you just double click, then that will basically fill it down to the same level as the column next to it. And to check that, what we can do is, so instead of scrolling for a long time to go down, there's a nice shortcut that if you press Control and down, then that will take you to the top of the next blank row. And you can do the same, like you can go Control up, which will take you to the top, and you can do Control left and right as well.
Lee, we do have a question now, if it's okay.
Yep.
And that is, do you happen to know if the Shift key works to reorder columns in Excel on a Mac?
Oh, I'm not sure. Sorry. Yeah, I don't.
No, I don't know either.
I don't use a Mac. Yeah.
No,
We'll need
sorry.
Mike.
Somebody in the audience might know, but oh, somebody just said, Owen Price said he just tested and it does work on the Mac. Thank you, Owen. And one person is John is having trouble seeing some items, but most of us are seeing it. So if anyone else is having trouble, please let us know and we'll try to figure out what it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let
sorry
us know
for
in the
interrupting.
chat. Yes, thank you.
So I'm going to show a few shortcuts now that I found quite useful. So one of them is if you want to copy the value in the cell just above where you are. So if I wanted to put crew again, or sometimes if you have like a long code or number or something, then it's quite difficult to type it in. Then if you press Shift and D, if you press Control and D, then it will just copy exactly what's in the cell above. And that also works for if you want to copy it down to a few rows. So if I wanted all of those to be the same, then Control and D will copy that down as well. The other thing that I found that I use quite a lot as well is a shortcut for putting in today's date. So that is Control and the semicolon, and that puts in a date that hard codes that date in there. So if I open the file in a week, then that date will stay the same. If you want one that is always the current date, then there's a formula called today that will do that. So this one I think is also really useful. So quite often we need to enter data, and there might be a few values. So like we don't necessarily want to put in new values. Quite often if you're typing it in, then you might make a spelling mistake. But if you know that the value that you want to put in already exists and you don't want to add a new value, then what you can do is if you press Alt and down, then this will bring a little menu with the values that are already in that column. So now I can choose one from there. Right, so the next one that I really like is if you press the Windows key and V, then it shows Clipboard history. Oops. So instead of so quite often, like if I'm copying sometimes I'll be copying a value and I actually want to paste the value that was before the value I just pasted, and then I end up having to go back and then copy it again until I discovered that you can do this. And I don't think this is very new actually, but I just didn't know about it. So if I've copied a few values here, then if you press the Windows key and V, then that brings up, and then you can choose which one you want. And it's also just useful for if you can't remember which one was the last one that you copied. So you can just press Windows key and V, and then you can see them before you paste it. So the next one is kind of a fun one, that if you press Windows key and the full stop or period, it brings up the emojis window, which is quite fun. But there are quite a few useful scenarios where you might want to use that as well. So I'm just gonna put a few of them in here. So I'm putting a happy face, and then maybe a oops, this one, and is that a crying face? which is, yeah, so that's quite fun. And especially now there's more and more emojis being designed, I suppose. But I thought was quite cool that I saw someone demonstrate was that you can actually do them in the tab names as well. So for example, if you've got a tab name called date, then you might want to put a calendar to show that it's a date. So I'm just going to choose that one. So a bit of a visual. Okay. So I think one thing that I get asked quite regularly is how to do how to create a filter. So I'm just going to create a filter into this column here. So you need to highlight the cells that you want to create them in. I'm just going to do these for now. So it's called data validations. I think that is probably why people struggle to find it, because the name is not that intuitive. But so if you click on data validation here and allow list, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these cells as the values to allow, and then click on OK, and then that will create this drop down list. So it's pretty small, but it's got the three values that we've put here. So this person is really unhappy, this one is happier. Okay, so yep, and then the next one I'm going to show is how to see well, how to create a filter in the data in the first place. So it's still in the data tab. So if you click anywhere within the data, then by default it will create a filter going across the whole of the data. So if all you need to do is click on the filter button here, and now we can filter. So I now want to see how many duplicate towns we've got. So an easy way of doing that is to highlight the column and then go to the Home tab and Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rules and duplicate values. You can also select unique values if you only want to see the unique values, and you can also change the formatting of that, but I'm just going to keep it as a default. So now what you can do as well, so if you had a column that you don't want duplicates and you want to be able to see them easily, you can now click on the filter and you can say filter by color. So because we've made the duplicates all this red color, you can just see the ones that have got duplicated values in them. Okay, so one thing that I often have to do as well is, because we get data from different places, and quite often what happens is that the column headings will change and it messes up what you're doing. So so I've got this example here. So I've got two sheets with column headings that are supposed to be the same, but there's something wrong with it, and it's not easy to see by looking like this. So the way that I normally do this is that I will copy these column headings from column headings 1. I'm just going to use sheet 11 to do my comparison. And then basically, if you right click into that cell and go into paste options, there's a transpose option, and this will mean it pastes downwards instead of across, which makes it a lot easier to see. And then I'll do the same with this one. So Control C to copy that, and then paste down like that. So already we can see easily that the second one has an extra column in it. So the way that I'm going to compare it is if I just type equals and then click on the first column and then equals again, and then click on the second one and put enter. So that will show whether they're the same or not. And then I'm just going to drag, double click on this to go down. So now I can see that this one is showing as false and this one's also showing as false. So then I can see, oh, why? And there's an extra space behind there that we couldn't see very easily.
Lee, we have another question, if you wouldn't mind. So
Yep.
Baljet is asking, would an emoji in the tab name cause issues when you're writing a formula that refers to a different sheet? I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, we can try.
Let's give it a go.
Yeah. So let's have a go. Right, I've got nothing in there at the moment, but if I just paste some postcodes. Oops. So we've put postcode and
Jeff's saying that it does work.
Okay.
That's what Jeff says.
Right, let's so if we just do, I'm just going to do an XLOOKUP. Okay, yeah, but it just shows in the formula bar as well. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an emoji in the formula bar before.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder with VBA and things like that if that could cause a problem.
Yeah.
Owen probably will know if he's still around. Yeah, but the icons can be very helpful to guide us where to go, in which sheet to go. That's true.
Oh, Jess says you can filter by emojis.
Yes.
Who knew?
Oh, okay.
That's a good one. And then Alves, I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, says that you could change the formula to A equals B minus 1 so then they don't display the 0. And you just see the differences. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, so what he's doing is A1 equal B1 is true. If it's true, it means 1. Minus 1 gives you 0.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And if it's false, it will be 0 minus 1 gives you minus 1. So if you are looking for it's probably easier sometimes to just compare ones and minus ones down the column than catching where the falses are against true, because it's just a word and it's can be more difficult to spot. Maybe that's one of the reasons for that suggestion.
May I?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
so the trick is that if you suppress displaying zeros, yeah, you on the sheet you can say, okay, I don't want to see zeros, so you either through menu option or via a VBA script, you said I don't display zeros. So if you do that, then you don't see 0 value. So you just see -1, which means in case of these two values are not the same, you see in the next column -1, and
easier to spot. Yeah.
To spot exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to filter. You just see where is -1. Those are different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll do it like that all the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good tip.
So yeah, I was just going to also show that with filtering, that it's also possible to search within filters as well. So I think, so if I wanted to bring back, so we've got some data where they've both got, these got Winslow and this one has just got Winslow, but that would be two separate values. But if I wanted to see all of them, then if you click on the filter drop down, I mean, you can select it, but you can also type it in here, and then that will bring everything that's got that text in it. And the other thing that you can do is you can also add another criteria to that as well. So if I wanted to also add Birmingham, but keep the Winslow ones in there as well, then if you click on this checkbox, then it brings that one there without removing those ones I already had in the filter. Okay. So the other one that I learned fairly recently, and I don't know, maybe it's been around for a really long time and I just didn't know as well, is so if you've got a workbook that's got loads of different sheets in it, then if you right click on where those arrows are, then it shows the sheets vertically here, and then you can select them. And I think if there are lots of them, then it will scroll. So that's much easier than having to click, click, click here like that. Yeah, so that brings me to the end of my list of tips. I hope that's useful.
They were marvelous. We have lots of people saying, I didn't know that.
It tastes like too little. You have more?
I was chatting to a colleague today, and who also loves Excel, and then he actually was suggesting a few more as well, but I thought I'd keep it not too long, because I could talk about this for a really long time.
Yeah, I can imagine. There's Hetel there who raised with hand raised. Would you like to ask something or say something, Hetel?
I just clicked by mistake, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Lee. It's always great, and we always learn something with these tips, because some of the things we never saw them, other things we just forgot about them, and it's great reminders, a great reminder for us. I guess it all depends on the type of work you do daily. You tend to, and for me, it also goes the way I learn things the first time. It tends to be the way I keep doing them. Sometimes I learn better ways later, but sometimes it can be difficult to adapt to a new way of doing things. So it's always great to see other ways of doing and just be reminded of that. Are there any other questions there?
Well, we have loads of comments. So apparently WinV is really much appreciated. That one everybody likes.
Yes.
And thank you for the Alt Plus and what other ones? Well, pretty well all of them. It just, there's all the way through, there's people saying, I didn't know that, or, great. The Alt Down one, that was another good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, there's quite a few, and now we're getting into the people saying, that they really enjoyed the session, and thank you so much. Oh, here, Trevor's saying, I understood that it's another way to compare values, but in these examples, she used text values, so you can do an arithmetic operation on text values. Ah, yes.
Oh.
When you change them to true and false, you can.
Yeah, because if true is equal to 1, and then false is equivalent to 0. So yeah.
Yeah. And it was in relation to sharing columns. He said, that's right. And Baljeet is saying that the control colon is the one that saved her the most time, or is it semicolon?
Semicolon for
semicolon. Yeah,
to insert
semicolon.
the date, to insert today's date.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
use it all
seems
the
like
time.
such a
Loads
simple
of
one,
comments.
but I use it all the time. Yeah.
Yes. And I think you and I discussed it once before, because you use the Alt G, and I use, geez, I need to bring Excel up so I can tell. I think it's Control and then the single quote, copies from above.
Yeah, so the difference between the two is that Control, if you have a formula and you have references in that formula that could be locked, could be unlocked, if you do Control D, it copies the formula down, and if something is not locked, it adapts the reference to the row below. If you do Control quote, it will copy the formula exactly as above. So it does not go, if the formula has A1 and you move it, copy down, the first Control D will put A2 in there. If it's unlocked, the other one will keep A1. So that's the difference. If you do that with text, it probably to copy text, you will probably not see the difference.
Yeah, I'm
but
usually
if
using it
there's
with
formulas,
text and
then
dates.
yeah,
and
then
dates, it works fine.
And then if there's formulas, that's where the difference is between the two, Control D and Control single quote. But you can try. I'm saying this from the top of my head. I think it's correct, but you should. Anyone interested needs to test, because I may not be 100% correct, but it's something like that.
So if anybody's interested, well, I shouldn't say if anybody's interested, but I think we're all interested in. Owen Price has put in how you get the list of emojis and their codes. He's put a let formula. So in the chat. So go into the chat, copy that and save it somewhere. Next time you need to give a list of emojis, it'll put it in for you.
Would you like Owen to share his screen and just show us? That would be much fun. Huh?
Not sure that's all of them, but it's 70 of them, he says. I'm not sure. I don't know if Owen's going to share or not, but he's made.
I can share if you want.
That would be great. And by the way, Owen just started a meetup group where he lives in the US. I can't remember the exact name of the location, but it doesn't matter because he can attend from anywhere. So feel free to check him and his sessions. His meetup is just brand new. Oh, look at that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That is good.
So this sequence gives you 70 numbers that starts with this number. And this number is this smiley face. So that gives you the sequence of those numbers. And then you can stack the numbers next to the Unicode representation of those numbers, which are the emojis.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's cool. And so we have all that list there, kind of a table there with just one formula in the first cell in cell A1. There's one formula that spills all those results down and
really
to the
cool.
right. Yeah.
I guess you can change this starting number and get more of them, but looks like the first one might be 128512.
At least for the faces.
Yeah, maybe you need the Statue of Liberty. I don't know.
I wonder
And the
if they
Eiffel Tower.
change over time.
Yeah, I think these are supposed to be standard. Like it's like an industry standard for it. But the number used in Excel is not that easy to find. So having this kind of formula, you can just pick them out and say, oh, I want that one. That's the number I want. Anyway.
Thank you, Owen.
That's really cool. Thanks. Yeah.
And we promised no formula, so we cheated twice.
Yeah,
I know. I thought that when I was doing the comparison, I was like, oh, actually, this is a formula.
Oh, wow.
We forgive you. We forgive you. Okay, lovely. Do you have any more questions? I need to play more with the array functions. Balich says yes. And so the next session, end of January, Michael Jarman is going to talk about lambdas, which is probably one of the most advanced ways you can look into dynamic array functions, because you can put everything inside a lambda. Lambda is just a way of creating your custom functions in Excel. Before, we used to have to use VBA for that if you wanted a custom function, but now you can create custom functions without VBA and have them available on your spreadsheet. So if you feel like you are at a stage where you want to learn more about it, just join us in end of January, and come and meet the Excel champion, which is also always nice to do. And yeah, we'll have a great time.
Yeah.
But for now, thank you so much, Lee. I really enjoyed the session. And I think, and the other people, especially if you are new and want to send us your feedback, we really appreciate if you can tell us if you want more of these type of sessions. Because the purpose of the meetup has always been to help people do better and learn more, do better in Excel, and learn better practices and evolve their skills. So just send us your feedback if you want to.
Yes, we're getting more awesome presentations and great presentations and thank yous and very helpful and great sessions. So you did.
Thank you.
And this is just as good as when I saw it at the Women in Excel meeting that we had, that you did a shorter version of it. It's a marvelous presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you for being available so late there for you. Yeah,
that's right. I'm full of adrenaline, so
yeah. So now not only you are awake until late, and now you cannot sleep. You will need some time. I hope you don't have to wake up too early tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lee. Is there anything else you would like to tell people how to find you and how to connect with you? And then we will wrap up from there.
Mainly on LinkedIn. I'm actually not that active on there, but I do I check messages and things like that. But I would not really call myself a content creator at the moment anyway. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Well,
thank you.
I posted your contact in the chat just now, so anyone can grab it before we end the meeting.
All right. It was a great start for the year. Thank you again, Lee. Thank you, everyone who took the time to join us. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you come back for the next session and during the year, and let's see where this leads us. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We will end the session now. Bye-bye.
Bye.